Welcome back to the Adonis Black Show, the only news show where we laugh to keep from crying. Shout out to everybody working a full-time job while moonlighting as a content machine. Shout out to you if you woke up this morning, checked the news, and said, nah, I'll catch the recap from Adonis. That is why we are here. Today's episode has it all: tragedy, chaos, billionaires behaving badly, women going to space, massive protests, and HBO casting a black Snape. Yep, this is real life. So let's jump right into the top story. And no, unfortunately, we don't get to laugh yet. Florida State University is reeling after a mass shooting on campus this week that left 2 people dead and 6 others injured. This happened near the Student Union building, one of the most populated parts of campus. Students are now leaving flowers, holding vigils, and wondering how the hell this keeps happening. Let's be clear, this wasn't just another incident. This was targeted violence on a campus, a space where students are supposed to be focused on passing midterms, not dodging bullets. University officials called it a senseless act of violence, which, yeah, but at this point, it's also a predictable act of violence. Now, details are still unfolding. Apparently, the suspect is in custody now, but what we can talk about is the pattern. The fact that school shootings have become a weekly occurrence. I literally just reported one yesterday. We've got more lockdown drills and fire drills now. And politically, it's complicated. Some people push for more laws, others for more freedom. Meanwhile, families are stuck asking why they keep having to bury their kids. To the students at FSU, to the families impacted, to anyone tired of watching these headlines on loop, you deserve better. We all do. Now let's pivot to something straight out of a made-for-TV movie, except this one happened 30,000 feet in the air. A U.S. citizen tried to hijack a tropic air flight in Belize this week on a tiny plane, like 15 people. Not exactly Die Hard 3, but this guy reportedly attacked crew members and tried to force his way into the cockpit. First of all, how you gonna hijack a puddle jumper? What's the plan, King? Turn the plane around and take it to Miami? This is not Mission Impossible. This is Spirit Airlines Belize edition. Luckily, another passenger stepped in, armed, trained, and ready. He confronted the attacker, fatally shot him mid-flight. And shout out to that man for real. You saved lives that day. You saved lives that day. Now, obviously, it's a wild situation, and Belize authorities are still investigating how the hijacker got a weapon on board in the first place. Which, fair question, because if a dude can board a small regional plane with a weapon, that's not a we missed something moment. That's a rebuild the system moment. Everyone else on that flight made it out safely. But it's another reminder that even when you think you're going off the grid, you're not really escaping the chaos. Over in Myanmar, nearly 5,000 prisoners were released this week to celebrate the traditional New Year. Sounds like a humanitarian move. Right? Hold that applause, because while the military is out here handing out pardons, most of the people released were not political prisoners. And if you know anything about Myanmar right now, that's who actually needs freeing. This is the same military that staged a coup in 2021, locked up journalists, activists, students, you name it. Now they're releasing petty criminals and trying to spin it as a gesture of goodwill. Meanwhile, people who dared to post "Stop the Violence" on Facebook are still rotting in jail. Human rights groups aren't buying it. They're calling it what it is, a PR stunt wrapped in tradition. It's like throwing a birthday party while you still got people tied up in the basement. You don't get points for cake if you're still torturing people. And while it's easy to brush this off as over there news, it's the reminder of what happens when a government loses accountability and transparency. Democracy dies fast when nobody's looking, and even faster when people are looking but stop caring. All right, here's an update on a story that's been all over the place for months. Luigi Mangione, the guy charged with murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, has now been federally indicted for premeditated murder and terrorism-related offenses. And the Justice Department is going all in. They're seeking the death penalty. If you've been following, you already know the case is loaded. Healthcare frustration, political rhetoric, mental health, all of it. But now it's official. This is a federal death penalty case. What Mangione really represents is how deep the class resentment runs. We had Occupy Wall Street, now it's vigilante chaos, and next, who knows? But one thing is clear. People are tired of being crushed by a system that was never built for them. Wild case. And you know we'll be watching what happens when it goes to trial. So stay tuned. This week, protests erupted across the country under the banner, "Hands Off." And no, it's not just about Trump, though, of course, it kind of always is. Millions hit the streets in more than 1,400 cities, pushing back on everything from attacks on Medicare and Social Security to immigration raids and police overreach. Even Elon Musk caught some strays. That's how you know it's real. They said hands off our rights, hands off our money, hands off our future. And somewhere in Florida, DeSantis is probably signing a bill to make protesting illegal if your sign has glitter. Now, this is not a fringe thing. It's nurses, it's teachers, it's immigrants, it's veterans, and your auntie with the folding chair. People are done asking politely. Now they're outside with microphones and bullhorns because begging politicians on Twitter didn't work. And it's not just about Trump. It's about the whole machine, the unchecked power, the billionaires, the broken promises. Hands off is becoming a real movement, one that might finally slap some sense into Capitol Hill. So if you're wondering what time it is, it's movement o'clock, and folks ain't going back to brunch. All right, let's take a break from Earth for a second because it's kind of crazy, right? Look, Blue Origin just launched its first all-female space crew into orbit. Yep, Katy Perry, Gayle King, and Lauren Sanchez took off last week and made history. That's right, a pop star, a journalist, and Jeff Bezos' girlfriend walk into a spaceship, and somehow that's not the start of a bad joke. It's the future of STEM. Now listen, look, I'm here for the symbolism. It matters. It sends a message. And shout out to all the little girls who watched that launch and thought, yeah, I could do that. Because yes, you can do that. Representation in science and space isn't just about cool headlines. It's about who gets to dream. And this launch said, you're invited to the dream too. Also, let's just appreciate how far we've come. A century ago, women weren't even allowed to vote. Now they're leaving the planet. And one of them is Katy Perry. We're in the multiverse right now. But in all seriousness, look, shout out to the crew, shout out to the message, and shout out to women breaking barriers in a field that's still orbiting around males. Finally, we got to talk about the Wizarding World because HBO just dropped their casting choices for the upcoming Harry Potter series, and it's got people arguing louder than a Thanksgiving dinner with the in-laws. John Lithgow is set to play Dumbledore. But the headline that broke the internet is a black Snape. Okay, that's right. The Potions Master is getting melon, and somewhere J.K. Rowling is pacing the room like, not on my broomstick, but I'm here for it. Let's reimagine all of it. Let Hogwarts feel like a real school with actual diversity, but I don't know if all schools... the original had more trolls than black students. So, let's just keep it real right there. People always say, don't mess with the classics, and I agree, unless you're messing to make them better. I don't have a dog in this race, honestly. I'm just reporting the news. The Wizarding World is changing, and if you're mad about a black snake, maybe the real magic was your racism all along. Because, who cares, bro? I don't have a dog. I don't care what color they care. I don't care. That's our show. We started with tragedy, moved through protests, broke down billionaires, hijackings, coups, and somehow ended up with space queens and a black wizard. That's the news cycle in 2025. If you laughed, learned, or even side-eyed once, go ahead and like, share, and tag somebody who needs their news with a little less stress and a lot more sarcasm. This is the Adonis Black Show, the only news show where we laugh to keep from crying. Catch you next time.